Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's call for the evening. We have a very exciting call tonight, and we are joined with one of our special guests, Sunette Gittens, as well as our regulatory pharmacist, Francisca. And tonight's call, we'll be speaking about winter oils and immune health. So on the next slide, just before we move over to exactly what we have in store for everybody, I'd just like to put a disclaimer out there, just to advise that the information on the presentation is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Remember, this information is for the South African market only. I understand that we are currently sitting with load shedding, as myself and the rest of the presenters are tonight, but we will definitely make this call worthwhile, as everybody has made a plan to be on the call tonight. So without further ado, I'd also like to basically hand over to Francisca before we start with our call. So Francisca, do you mind telling us exactly what it is about our immune system and the types of immune responses?
Definitely. So hi, everyone. It's so good to be here with you guys on this cold evening. And I'm so glad that you managed to join with all the wars, like Evan said, this load shedding has put in all of our lives. But to cut it all short, I try to just make a summary. I know that we all talk about the immune system a lot. Someone is not feeling well, take this for your immune system. Someone has got take supplements to boost the immune system. We use this word so loosely, but today I just want to get into it and just give a small summary of what the immune system is all about, as well as how a lot of what we're going to talk about is tied onto the immune system and how we are boosting our immune system using all the oils that we're going to talk about today, and also the health supplements that we're going to talk about today. So overall, your immune system is just a complex network of tissues and cells that work together to work against factors like viruses, bacteria, fungi, and parasites. So the immune system, we consider it as that barrier between us or the rest of the cells against all these foreign objects that might actually cause adverse effects in your body. So the immune system, when it encounters things that we call foreign materials, we call these antigens, it triggers an immune response. So the immune response, when we say someone has got an immune response, we mean that there's signals that are passed from cell to cell in order to fight against this foreign object or foreign pathogen or foreign bacteria or virus. So there's two types of immune responses. There is the innate immune response, and there is the adaptive immune response. Both of them, they work hand in hand in order to bring out an immune response in our bodies, right? So an innate immune response is usually a non-specific, and it usually happens immediately. So I can take an example of walking through a field that has got pollen, and you happen to be allergic to pollen. Immediately what happens is that you sneeze. That is the body's immediate response to that foreign particle or that foreign body that comes into your body, right? So that's it. The innate system, we call them the first responders, basically, of any immune response. So the body's first response to any intruder can even be the skin. We have the stomach acids, and we have even the sneezing that I spoke about, the hairs that you find in your nostrils. Those ones, they actually are called the innate immune response of the body, because they immediately fight against any foreign particle that the body feels it doesn't want. So when we move from innate immune response, it triggers the response from what we call the adaptive immune response. So the adaptive immune response is the specific and is associated with memory. So it is very specific to a very specific antigen. And this one actually uses the memory cells in order to bring about an immune response. For example, I'm so sure some of us have already had chicken pox when we were young, right? So you get chicken pox. You suffer from it, the body builds up a barrier or antigens against this chickenpox, so that the next time, let's say you get exposed to the chickenpox bacteria or the chickenpox virus, the body, the memory cells are triggered to say, no, I fought this, and it immediately fights it without you getting sick from it. So that is the adaptive immune response. So those two you'll be hearing me speak more about them as I go through the whole presentation for today. And I've got such interesting and fascinating information pertaining to our immune system and the immune response. And also, there's a fun fact that I actually found out also today, that 70 to 80% of our immune functioning takes place in the gut. So digestion plays a very important part in our lives. As much as it is very important for us to digest food and absorb the nutrients, it is also very important for our gut health also, and it determines how healthy we are. And I will dive deeper as we go through the presentation. But this was just a small summary just to tell you about the immune system and a bit of some of the immune responses that we get from the body as we fight off viruses, bacteria, and fungi. And mostly now, when it's so cold, we are fighting off a lot of viruses because of the weather conditions. So yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Francisca. So now that we know about the immune system, we know about innate responses as well as adaptive responses. I look forward to what we have to present for tonight. So on the next slide, I would like to actually present who Sunette Gittens is. So Sunette is a lovely lady. I've met her when I've been to Cape Town, and she lives in Cape Town with her husband, Philip. They've got married a bit later in life, and before getting married, she was fortunate enough to have lived in Ireland for like over a decade. So it was there where she learned about the power of nutrition and plant-based medicine, and this is to restore optimal health. So when she was introduced to Young Living essential oils back in 2019, she realized that these little drops of gold were the missing link in a toolbox of natural remedies. So today she's a passionate essential oils educator who loves to help women rediscover the lost wisdom of plant-based medicine. And she does this through sharing the science as well as the practical information and teaching a mindset that we are the gatekeepers of our homes and our family's health. So I'd like to welcome Sunette onto tonight's call. Sunette, are you there?
Hi, Gavin. I'm here. Good evening.
Thank you so much. So Sunette, we've selected a bunch of products and oils where we can speak about immune health and how good they are. So if we move on to the next slide, we will be covering our first essential oil. So do you care to take us through exactly what ginger is?
Sure. Yes, thank you. And thanks for the introduction, Francisca. The immune system is a complex topic, and you've done a great job. Thank you for us to understand. And something I love about essential oils, I mean, first of all, they're empowering because we can have them in our home and use them as a first response when we feel under the weather. And secondly, they do an amazing job of help balancing our immune system. So I'm sure you will touch on some of that as you go through it. So they are really just so compatible with us. And, you know, I truly believe that a gift from God. To help us. And with regular use, they help to keep us above the wellness line. And so some of the tips I'm going to share is for when you start feeling unwell, but also use them regularly so that you keep yourself and your family above the wellness line. And what I mean by that is so that you stay well and you don't actually feel sick because you're using it preventatively. So for a bit of fun, I've given each of the essential oils a superhero name. Hopefully that will help you remember what each one does. They're quite versatile, but just focusing on their immune function. And so ginger, I've called the digestive dynamo. It's the oil that really helps us in terms of digestion besides some of the immune functions. I first want to comment on the aroma of it. So a lot of people say when they first smell it, doesn't smell like ginger, because we're used to often the fresh ginger smell, or maybe the powder, but it doesn't smell exactly like that. It's a little bit more earthy, but still distinctly gingery. So if you haven't used it before, don't be surprised if you open it and it's not exactly what your brain is remembering of the smell of ginger. And then, as I said, it's an amazing oil for digestive discomfort. I like to use it just applied directly on the tummy. So it is quite a warm and spicy oil, a hot oil. So it's advised to use it with carrier oil. So if your tummy is feeling unwell, whether that's nausea or bloatedness, anything like that, you put 1 to 2 drops of ginger in your hand and a little bit of carrier oil and just apply it. Now, a really great and popular recipe is to make a roller with digize, one of our other digestive oils, and ginger and peppermint. And that's a really great one for car sickness and just general digestive wellness. So I know it's used for the car sickness, but it's definitely one you can
make a magic circle.
Just make sure you're all muted. Thank you. All right. Then another amazing property of ginger is its anti-inflammatory benefits. So it's really good for sore muscles. So something I like to use it for sore muscles, aches and pains that we often get when we feel under the weather, especially with a viral infection, is to make a massage blend with ginger, because that gives you the warming and the anti-inflammatory. And then also add aroma seeds. So if you know that blend that we have, it's made with marjoram and basil and lavender and peppermint. So if you don't have aroma seeds, you can just use basil and lavender. I find that's a good combo. But for ease of use, ginger and aroma seeds is a really, really great one to apply for sore muscles. And then another way I like to use it myself is just on a daily basis. I like to use the vitality part of ginger, which Vitality is our brand name in the USA to say it's safe for ingestion as approved by the FDA. So I like to add it into my morning cup of tea. Just one drop is enough. It's more than enough. So that's another way for you to use it on a daily basis. Yes, and one more thing to mention, it helps to enhance circulation. So I forgot to mention that when I talked about the inflammation. So besides it reducing inflammation and helping for pain, it improves circulation, which often we need to improve circulation to support the immune system, to get all those immune cells everywhere in the body. So that's what I wanted to share on ginger. Francisca, you want to add something?
Definitely. So I am so glad that you actually mentioned the part about ginger actually working on our gut health, because now I want to explain a bit more of some of the aspects that you actually mentioned about how you use your ginger. The ginger has an anti-inflammatory and antibiotic property that you mentioned, and that helps to boost our immune system, because they work against viruses, they work against bacteria. And how essential oils actually help with the immune system is supportive health. You know, the immune system now does not have to fight against all the bacteria and the viruses and the inflammation that the body goes through, because ginger comes in and supports it in counteracting some of these bacteria before an immune response is actually generated. And as well, when you mentioned how great it is for gut health and the digestive system. So I'll explain just a little bit about how your digestive tract or your digestion and the food you eat actually affects the immune system and your immune response. So immune cells in the gut actually interact with the microbiomes or the bacteria. You know how in the gut we have natural bacteria, we have fungi that lives in the GIT system. So this GIT, the overgrowth and the undergrowth of this bacteria actually affects the immune cells that interact with this bacteria that is found in the gut. So an individual's diet and an individual's lifestyle, the food we eat actually affects the diversity and the composition of the bacteria in the gut. So which in turn affects our immune cells. So if we want to have vigorous, strong immune cells in our systems, we actually need to pay attention to the food we eat, the lifestyle we eat, we live, which actually has a direct effect on the immune response. So now ginger, if you take ginger, for example, ginger actually boosts digestion. It boosts the great growth of the bacteria that is found in the gut, and hence it has a direct effect on the immune cells that interact with this bacteria and fungi in the system.
Well, that's so interesting. I didn't know that it helps to grow the gut bacteria.
Yes, exactly. So that's what's so fascinating about all of this, because even I am guilty of sometimes only just looking at the surface. You know that, oh yes, if I take ginger and I'm nauseous or I've got indigestion, it works. But we never actually think deeper, because we always think, essential oils are just mood stabilizing, but they are actually so vital in a lot of our body systems in ways that we take for granted, actually.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay.
Very.
So we go on to it. So that's the digestive dynamo.
Yes, the digestive dynamo.
That's a very apt superhero name. Thanks, that's perfect, Gavin. All right, so now we come to Rosemary. I'm calling this one the toxin terminator. So Rosemary, it has quite a. Let me talk about first the traditional or more familiar use of rosemary is we often call it the oil of remembrance, because it helps for memory and for focus. But when we think about the immune system, it packs quite a big punch. So it's really helpful for respiratory support in many ways. I love to use an oil blend for steaming, and we'll share that recipe a bit later, but I'll just talk about the steaming effect now. So when you combine the essential oils with the hot water and put a towel over your head and inhale that, it's so beneficial for your throat, for your lungs, and it helps to break up the mucus. And rosemary is one of those that it's called an expectorant that helps to break up mucus and release, bring some of that, reduce some of that tightness on the chest that we often feel with a cold or a flu. I've recently had a sinus infection, and for me it was all up in my head, and it was besides all the other things of eating well and using supplements to support my immune system, the steaming was the really big thing that helped give me really literally within. I steamed for 5 minutes. I set my timer on and I listened to a podcast and I steamed for 5 minutes. And when you get out from under the towel, you immediately feel a relief. So that's one of the ways rosemary helps us. It's also an amazing liver detoxifier. So it's one of the key oils I would use to support the liver. So when we are dealing with the bugs, the viruses, the bacteria, the fungals, they create toxic byproducts in the body when the immune system deals with them. And therefore, the health of the liver is also really important for your immune system. And what else did I want to say? Oh, yeah. So it also has antifungal properties. So we often use it in recipes that would need. So if you think of the toenail fungus or fungus elsewhere in the body, use it topically, apply it to the area of concern. And I find typically with fungal infections, usually within 2 or 3 days, you see a difference. And within a week, it starts clearing up depending on the severity of where it's at. But it's a really versatile oil to use for many things. I just want to do a small caution with safety. It is one of those oils that we want to say if you're diagnosed with high blood pressure or with epilepsy, it's an oil that's best avoided. But the good news is you have lots of other options. So rosemary is not one for you, then there's a few more coming. So we'll touch on that.
Francisca, I'm so glad to know that you actually also spoke about some of the cautions, because people always underestimate the potency of oils in their usage. So as you touched on also the caution of how to use rosemary, as much as it is beneficial, I like the part that you actually have to be careful as well. So with rosemary also, like you said, it's a good source of anti-inflammatory and antioxidant compounds. So it being a very powerful antioxidant, it is because of its one of its constituents, which is called the phenolic derivatives. So these phenolic derivatives, they actually give rosemary its antioxidant property. And then this antioxidation it helps fight against oxidative stress, which most, if not all, cells in the body go through. So I remember in one of the presentations that I once did, I was like, I'm now thinking that I'm called Miss Antioxidant because I talk about antioxidants a lot, and oxidative stress is the one chemical reaction that happens in all our cells and which affects the whole body. So now, it being a very powerful antioxidant, it actually helps fight or protect the body against this oxidative stress that actually causes the aging and the breaking down of all the cells at cell level. And by so doing, it supports the immune system. When I say it supports the immune system, it means that the immune system does not have to work as hard as it would have if oxidative stress was just allowed to happen in the body the way it wants to. And it's also known to promote healthy circulation, like you said, and to defend against the inflammation which happens in the body, and thus as well supporting the immune system against these inflammatory processes that might happen in the body because of different conditions. So I know that rosemary also helps relieve indigestion. So it's a natural remedy for digestive issues, including the loss of appetite, heartburn, reflexes, gas, and bloating. And it is also very capable of stimulating the release of digestive bile as well. This helps also in the breakdown of food, and it also helps down the fighting of some of the bacteria that the body might take with food, and it assists with the digestion and it can support normal nutrient absorption. So by so doing, like I said, the health of a person also comes from the gut, because the immune cells are directly interact with the microbiomes that are found in the gut system. So the healthier the digestion, the healthier the food, the healthier the bacteria that is found. There's good and bad bacteria. So the more of the good bacteria found in the gut and the less of the bad bacteria found in the gut, then the better for the immune system, and there is less immune response required by the body. And hence, this is very beneficial for a holistic bodily system. And then it is also a natural antimicrobial property. It has natural antimicrobial properties as well, because we can see that it can fight against certain types of harmful bacteria, including those that contribute to infections. So by so doing as well, like I said, most of these oils that are there to support the immune system so that it's not overworked. So if the rosemary fights against some bacteria that the body doesn't have to fight against, then that is a win-win for the immune system, because immune responses don't have to be triggered whenever rosemary is there. So that's very beneficial as well.
And it brings that wonderful balance, because when the immune response is upregulated, that increases oxidative stress.
Yes, so
exactly. The essential oil and any of the essential oils with the antioxidants, which most of them have, will then help to reduce the negative effects of the oxidative stress. Yeah, great.
Definitely.
Great. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, lemon. It's one of my favorite oils, and this one I call the Vitalizer Superhero. It's an essential oil that really helps to revitalize both mind and body. And we're starting to talk a little bit about some of the emotional side of essential oils. Because I thought, who doesn't want to feel better when you're under the weather? And lemon is one of those. It really is, and they've done studies on it, that lemon actually is a mood enhancer. So, put it in your diffuser for a mood lift and also for a focus lift. So some of the things, other things it can do. So I wanted to ask you, have you ever wondered why so many of our recipes that we use for the immune system and also kind of just general body support, they contain lemon? Don't know if you've ever noticed that. And it's, it feels like it's quite ubiquitous too, it's everywhere. And I think the reason for it's so supportive in recipes is because its ability to increase circulation and specifically microcirculation. So I always say lemon essential oil helps the other oils to get into all the little places where it needs to go. So it improves circulation and helps to get the remedies in more places. Then respiratory support. It's definitely another one that gives us that respiratory support. It can help reduce symptoms of a flu and a cold when inhaled. So you can either do it in your diffuser or in a roller that you apply near your nose, and your chest so that you can smell it. And another way it supports the respiratory system is that it's a natural antihistamine. So the other one that's a natural antihistamine is lavender. So they often will use lavender and lemon together. But lemon by itself helps to clear the congestion and reduce mucus out of the lungs and the throat. And you can also apply topically, and it's another one of our vitality oils. So if that's something that you use, I love to add, speaking of vitality, I love to start my day with a glass of water and a couple of lemon drops in it. So 2 to 3 drops. And it's a great way to just hydrate, support your respiratory function, but also support your liver and your kidneys as the day gets going. And your, when you get up in the morning, you are releasing all the toxins that the body is, has processed during the night, and hydrating well and then adding some lemon oil is a really good daily habit to form. And then there's lots of studies that show that lemon is an antimicrobial. So similar to a lot of the oils we're talking about tonight, it has those antimicrobial functions. So I think it's another real superhero that hits many punches, the vitalizer superhero. Francisca, what do you want to add?
In the part where you spoke about like a superhero, because it almost feels like all our oils are superheroes.
They are.
So lemon essential oil benefits related to immune system are attributed to their antioxidant and antimicrobial, like you said. It's got anti-stress and antibacterial activity. I'm so glad that you introduced it, as we're now getting to the emotions oils as well, because haven't you ever noticed that when you are in a bad mood, or when you are going through a stressful period, you almost feel like you are getting sick? Mm-hmm. Because stress and the immune system are also a bit correlated, or they're a bit related. So lemon being a mood a stabilizer, or one that gives you a happy mood, it can act as it has anti-stress effects. So stress is the body's response to a threat that is either real or perceived, right? So too much stress can actually have a negative effect on your immune system. So inhalation, like you said, of the lemon essential oil has shown to have an influence on neurotransmitters that actually affect the mood. So usually in the brain, there are neurotransmitters that have a feel good response, and some that actually dampen the spirit. So now these ones, they produce neurotransmitters that actually uplift the mood and have an anti-stress effect, and eventually by so doing, they support the immune system. So as well, lemon contains an ingredient that is called D-limonene, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And this compound helps to encourage the production of white blood cells. So I'm so sure all of us have heard about white blood cells, because it's also one of those cells in the body that are just thrown around. We say, your white blood cells, or you go to the doctor and you do a urine test and they tell you that your white blood cells are high, meaning you've got an infection. We never usually ask more when we go to the doctor, right? So white blood cells are usually those cells that are like the soldiers of the body in layman's terms. So they move about the body system. The body has a certain amount of white blood cells that are already moving, circulating all over the body. And whenever you get an infection, then it triggers the production of even more white blood cells, so as to fight off that infection that would be circulating in the body. So white blood cells are always just roaming around, and whenever they find a bacteria or a virus or a parasite, then they fight that bacteria, thus giving about an immune response. So lemon, or the D-limonene that is found in lemon, is actually one of the oils, or one of the ingredients that are very good at helping compounds. Thank you. One of the very good compounds that are used to produce white blood cells. And hence, by so doing, they help the immune system as well in fighting off any infection that we have. And then the other thing about lemon that is really so awesome that I found out is that it helps in maintaining the health of the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system works hand in hand with the immune system in order for us to have, like, say this person is healthy. So the lymphatic system, how it helps the immune system, as much as the immune system brings about is like the immune response, these cells actually need to be transported wherever there is bacteria or fungi. So the lymphatic system actually provides a pathway for these white blood cells or these immune response products or compounds to go over to wherever they're supposed to fight an infection. And also the lymphatic system is where these immune responders are actually kept. So they are found on the lymphatic system as well. So if you have a healthy lymphatic system, it also contributes to you having a very good immune system, because it helps these immune responders move about, and it also gives them a place to live. So that is really mind-blowing, because we always take for granted, growing up, when you've got a cold, my mom would say, just take some lemon juice and put it in your tea. You don't understand all of these, the reason why, but as we go, the lemon essential oil, like you said, you always wonder why it's put in all recipes, because it's like an all-rounder essential oil that has got a lot of benefits that sometimes we also take for granted.
Definitely. And the lymphatic, when your glands are swollen, it's a good sign, because your immune system is doing its job.
Exactly.
Drink your water and put your lemon oil on.
Definitely. And also that's why, like, now that you mention it, my mom would always say, it will touch you there to check if they are swollen. Yeah. Then she say, yeah, you're not faking it. You're actually
usually
sick.
The ones here, isn't
yes. it? Definitely.
For sure. And for those that are, that like to get into the studies, D-limonene is probably one of the most studied compounds. If you put it in PubMed and just type in D-limonene, you'll see thousands upon studies. And our lemon oil contains 68% D-limonene, so it's quite rich.
Very
compound, yeah.
It's very potent. And I forgot to speak about the antioxidant effects as well of lemon. So it goes back to what I already spoke about, the oxidative stress of the cell. So it is very much an all-rounder that you should diffuse and use whenever you need, actually.
Yeah, use it all the time. I always have a spare lemon in the cupboard. I don't want to run out.
Definitely.
Right. Okay, let's go to the next one. Thanks, Gavin. Thieves. All right, Thieves. I always call that the oil with a funny name when I introduce it. I remember when I first went, what is this, Thieves? Now I use it as a household name, but the first time it just felt really weird on my ear. So this one, I've called its superhero name the Immune Avenger Oil. So really, truly, it is our number one. I think it's the bestseller worldwide, if I remember correctly, from that top 100 list. And it's a very worthy spot to be the number one oil. Also another one, I don't run out. There's always a spare one in the cupboard. So this oil is made up from 5 single oils. It's what we call a blend. So it has clove in it, which we haven't talked about so far. Clove is one of the oils with the highest antioxidant rating, which is called the ORAC level. And then it has lemon, which we've talked about already. Cinnamon bark, a very potent antimicrobial oil, and many studies have been shown to be effective against bacteria like E. coli and antibiotic resistant bacteria as well. So it's very powerful and versatile. Later, so I won't cover that too much now, but then Rosemary, we've also mentioned. And I just thought when we come to Thieves, I'm going to share how I use it. There's so many ways of using it. So the wellness roller, a lot of you may know that one, but I'll just quickly recap on it. So the wellness roller contains Thieves, purification, frankincense, lemon, and oregano. And ask in your respective communities, or we can share the recipe in the chat if somebody has it handy. But you put those oils in a roller and you apply it daily. And really the last 2 years, I think I've made everybody in the house got a wellness roller. And there's also a lesser dilution for kids, so you can make one for kids. I've also, depending on the need of the immune system, I would swap out purification for other oils in that recipe. So I just wanted to mention that as well. So I like to swap out RC for purification when there's more respiratory needs, and also thyme. Thyme oil is another really good immune support oil. Then I like to make a winter tonic. So you may have heard of a winter tonic in other circles. So I've adapted it as the Young Living one. So you make a hot drink. It's like a tea, but you put a teaspoonful of turmeric in it, that yellow spice that stains everything. So be careful that you don't spill, make everything yellow. So you put your hot water, a teaspoon of honey, a teaspoon of turmeric, and you can do a heaped teaspoon. If you haven't done it, if you have, if you've used it before, fresh ginger. So a few slices of fresh ginger, because there's additional compounds in the fresh ginger that we don't get in the essential oil. Fresh lemon slices. And then I like to add the Thieves and the lemon vitality oils into that mixture. So just 1 drop of Thieves and 2 drops of lemon. And it's a very high inflammatory and anti-inflammatory and immune support drink. It really is. If you've got body aches, drink that. Within 20 minutes, it gets into the body, it circulates, it really lifts you up, and on a cold night like now, it's a really good one to drink. And I wanted to mention Young Living's Inner Defense product as well. I know it's out of stock. I believe it's almost in the country. I don't know. I'll leave that to corporate to comment.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, fingers crossed. But I wanted to, if you're not the DIY kind and just say, please let me just have, I need something that's ready made, then get Inner Defense, have it on hand. You don't want to get sick and then feel, oh, I haven't ordered. So Inner Defense has a enteric coated capsule, so it means it survives through the stomach acid and gets deeper into the colon. It contains Thieves, oregano, lemongrass, and I'm forgetting something. I'm forgetting one of the ingredients, but it's a really potent natural antibiotic. And I like to take, for me, 1 tablet a day is usually enough. If I'm feeling really under the weather, I'll take a second one. So I know some people take more, but for me, that's usually enough, those 2. And then Life 9, which I know we'll talk about later, but Inner Defense and Life 9 are 2 that I would always take in a combo when I feel under the weather. And then we have Thieves mouthwash. So I wanted to mention that one for a sore throat. It's a really, because it has colloidal silver in it together with the Thieves oil and a few other essential oils, it's a really good one to gargle when you have a sore throat. Quite a easy one. I find it really strong, so I like to mix it with a bit of water. So like half a cup and maybe, 2 or 3 teaspoons of water, and then you gargle with that and spit it out. Okay. And then Ninja. So I know we're not talking about Ninja, but I don't think you talk about the immune system
enough. Any chance we get to speak about Ninja, please do.
So, and I mentioned it with Thieves because I call it my boosted Ninja shot. Okay. So I like to take a little bit of honey, mix in my Thieves vitality oil in the honey. So 1 or 2 drops, really you don't need more. Mix that, and then you add your Thieves to that, and you can also add a little bit of hot water just to make sure everything mixes well, and you sip on that. And I find when I take my vitality oils with Ninja, it's really like a super super effect. Have I given the superhero name? I don't think I have.
No, you haven't. I'm still waiting for it.
All right, the Immune Avenger Oil Blend.
Oh, look at you. You are such a tough act to follow, I'm telling you.
Go for it, Francisca.
Because it's such a tough act to follow, literally, because you have said almost everything that there is to say about Thieves. You have really broken down all the constituents of Thieves, which are the cinnamon, the clove, eucalyptus, lemon, and rosemary, and as well as the benefits of each, especially like what you said with the cinnamon. The cinnamon, there's a lot of studies that has been done on it, especially when we're looking at some of the bacteria like Staphylococcus. So it is very important for helping with the immune system, because like we said, these constituents of Thieves, or in this Thieves blend, all of them are put together with specific strong strengths that actually make it all such a massive bond, like you said, the Avengers. So it is very important because all of them contribute. Like you said, one of them is a very powerful antioxidant. So it helps with oxidative stress, and then we've got antiseptic properties, and then we've got anti-inflammatory properties, we've got antimicrobial properties, and all of this, and also promoting respiratory and cardiovascular health as well. So all of these put together form this whole powerful bomb that Thieves, like you said. I also was curious about the name Thieves. You know, the whole story around the Thieves name also was so fascinating for me. That's why it has also, like you said, become a household name, because you would know that from your mouthwash to the toothpaste to the essential oil itself. Like right now in winter, I'm putting a couple of drops of Thieves in my bath water. If I'm taking a shower, I put it in the shower to make a steamer, you know, because of all these benefits of this whole blend of all these essential oils that are found in it. And like I said, you're a tough act to follow, because everything that you said is absolutely true about Thieves, and that's why it is very good in triggering, in helping or supporting the immune system, and triggering a less requiring actually of our immune system to work over time. So it helps our immune system not work over time, because it already would have covered all the angles where an immune system would be needing an immune response.
And I think one thing to mention as well is just diffusing Thieves. It's a very comforting aroma, I find. And if somebody is under the weather, I will diffuse lavender and Thieves for bedtime. And that's a really, really great combo. And during the day, you can pair Thieves with lemon. That's a nice combo.
Because with me, even with my son with preschool, you know how at preschool, that's where kids play a lot, and then they get a lot of infections. Right. And it's good for them to play. So every night on his evening bath, a few drops of Thieves, and then he washes with that, because I know of the antimicrobial and all these other effects of Thieves that are very beneficial for his growing immune system.
Excellent. All right, I'm conscious of time. I know we could talk all evening.
Yes.
So our next one is wintergreen. And I think it's maybe not the first one we think of when we think immune oils, but I think it's quite a versatile one, and maybe one that for me sometimes stands in the corner, but I love this oil. So I'm calling this the Comfort Crusader, because it really is quite a comforting one for us. It gives relief in immune support and relief in 3 ways. So it helps for sore muscles. So that's typically what we traditionally would think of as the sore muscles. But it also helps to improve breathing. So you know, some of the over-the-counter products that we get, that we've grown up with, people will always say, "Oh, it smells like that when you smell your living wintergreen." And then it helps to calm the mind. So that's why I'm calling it the Comfort Crusader. For me personally, it's quite a comforting aroma, and it's one that just helps to it helps with that emotional support around stress and tension. It helps to calm and center the mind. So a lot of people that exercise would use wintergreen both for its support for the mind as well as for the muscular support. And then for respiratory symptoms, the methyl salicylate, which is, I know that's mentioned there on the screen as well, it's an aspirin-like compound. And it really, that helps to reduce pain, swelling, and fever when it comes to immune responses. So it really hits many angles for us. I personally like to use it in my recipe for sinus congestion. So we'll share that a bit later, as I said. And then massaging it on. So it's a beautiful oil to just put onto sore muscles. You can make a massage blend out of it, or just put 3 to 5 drops in your hand. Always add carrier oil. It is a strong one if you're not, especially if you're new to the hot oils, you haven't used it before, and then dilute it with a carrier oil. And if you can get, Yeah, and if you can get then, once you put it on and you can get into a warm bed or use a hot water bottle on the area of concern, that also really helps to drive the oil deeper into the body. This is one that's not a vitality oil, so just to mention that, and it has a child-friendly cap because there are, it's actually quite a sweet tasting oil. So I actually haven't tasted it, but I just read up on the reason why it has the child-friendly cap, or the child-unfriendly cap, I should say. It's to prevent kids from opening it. It's quite a sweet taste, so there is the risk of a child opening it, tasting it, and consuming it because it's so sweet. So just in case you wonder, why does it have the funny cap on it?
Definitely. And like you said, the active ingredient that is found in wintergreen is actually methyl salicylate, which is found in a lot of over-the-counter medication that is used for muscle pains and for rubbing, because of also the analgesic and the anti-inflammatory property. So anything that is anti-inflammatory, to me, I just say it is helping out my immune system because of the cytokines that are actually produced in inflammation. So like you said, it is a very great product which is used for inflammation, and topical pain relieving, and also it's got antibacterial properties. You can use it for colds, for skin conditions, and like you said, it is one of the oils that we actually need to put a lot of precaution on because not everyone can use it. So children, pregnant women, people taking anticoagulants cannot use it, people with bleeding disorders, people who are allergic to actually aspirin as well. So like you said, we should dilute it so that, because it cannot be used neat, so it needs to be diluted to certain ratios, which I will obviously share with, if anyone is not used to using wintergreen and needs a dilution, I'm happy to share the dilution. So yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, cool. That's great. So that's the Comfort Crusader.
That's the Comfort Crusader.
Let's go to the next one, darling. Yes. Thank you. Oh, is your slide stuck? There we go. Eucalyptus radiata. Yes. So this is the gentler one of the eucalyptus. So the other one is Eucalyptus globulus. Gentler, and so typically the one we would use for children more, that's the preference. Its superhero name, you probably can guess it, it's the respiratory warrior. So we know eucalyptus oil is the oil for helping with respiratory concerns. But again, it packs a big punch. So it's also an air purifier. So when you diffuse it, it helps to clean the air and really helps to I find, together with, I've mentioned Thieves, which also has eucalyptus in it, but eucalyptus and lavender is another really great combo to diffuse when there is the stuffiness and the congestion. And if hubby next to you maybe is snoring, then that's a good one. He's snoring because he has a stuffy nose. Then put Valor on the big toe and eucalyptus in the diffuser. It's one of the ways it's working is by dilating, so opening up the blood vessels and allowing more oxygen into the lungs. So that's why it's such an effective one for the respiratory support. And you can just inhale it directly from the bottle if you need a quick one. But I also love to do a scent tent or aroma dome, which means you put one drop without dilution in your hand and you rub it together. And then put your hands over your nose and your mouth and do really deep five deep breaths and just really get that oil in. That's also quite a relaxation exercise to do. It's an expectorant. So I actually looked at a specific study that was quite interesting. They looked at the topical application of 1-8-cineol, which is the compound here. That's the one that's the most active. And they found that it actually reduces mucus. So there's, again, a specific study that showed that eucalyptus will reduce the mucus caused by an infection. Yeah.
Okay.
And something I learned while preparing for this talk is that it helps with earache. So purification is my go-to for earache. Since I've used purification 4 years ago, my ear problems have disappeared. But it's interesting that you can actually use eucalyptus. So remember, when it's for the ears, it's not inside the ear. You apply it around the ear. I like to make a V with my fingers and then go up and down like this in front and dilute it, but then apply it around the ear. So it's always good to know when we have different options. So if purification is not working for you, or Melrose is the other one, then try eucalyptus for the earaches. Anything you want to add?
Yes, definitely. So for me, I just want to speak specifically about what eucalyptus actually triggers in the immune system. So it helps the immune system by stimulating on a cellular level the production or the activation of the phagocytes. So phagocytes are a specific kind of immune cell that actually eat up or engulf any foreign particle or any bacteria or virus. Yes, like Pac-Man. Exactly, like Pac-Man. So they are the Pac-Man of the immune system, and it also helps reduce the cytokines that are associated with the inflammation. So maybe for the ear infections, maybe that is the inflammation part of the eucalyptus that helps with ear infections. So eucalyptus actually boosts phagocytosis and reduces the level of inflammation. Yeah, that's all. Definitely.
I love learning about the details of it. So hopefully everybody is not too bored with us.
Yes.
The science. All right, Life 9.
Yes, Life 9.
Life 9, the Gut Guardian.
Yes.
So that's its superhero name. I thought I would just talk about how do you know a good probiotic? Because I know if you walk into a regular, pharmacy, or a health food store, it's a huge shelf, and where do you start? And the labeling can be quite confusing. So 3 things to look for: the variety of the bacterial strains in the probiotic. That's really important. Life 9 has not, and the 9 tells you that there's 9 different strains of bacterial beneficial bacteria in it. It includes 2 of the most highly studied bacteria besides the other ones, which is Bifidobacterium and Acidophilus, which a lot of you might know those names from, even from, food packaging, it's used sometimes. So variety, and then culture count. So that's the number of beneficial cultures per serving. And you really want something that's at least 10 million. Oh, sorry, 10 billion, not millions. I want to say not millions, because I see the ones in the pharmacy that say so many million. I think, no, you need 10 billion plus. So that's really, Life 9 is 17 billion live cultures. So it's a really potent one when it comes to what we can find on our. And then it has a delayed release capsule. So it's important for the probiotics to get deeper into the digestive system, and that delayed release capsule bypasses the stomach and it delivers the bacteria to the lower part of the digestive tract. Now, why is probiotics so important for the immune system? And Francisca told us at the start, 70 to 80% of your immune system sits in the gut, and that's a phenomenal. If you think about that, we often don't consider how important the gut is.
The gut is
all the other things. And when we can improve our digestive function, we will have more energy, we will have stronger immune function, our food absorbs better, we'll have proper bowel elimination, so that's the detox side. So all the things we've talked about. Life 9 is it's really my choice of probiotic, and I've used a few over the years, but this one really is, I find it very beneficial. And I thought I'll share how I use it. So if I feel under the weather, when I had the sinus infection about a month or so ago, I actually take 2 Life 9 because you can increase the dose. So when your body is fighting something, I was definitely fighting something. I could feel it came on in 24 hours. I was, I needed to lie down. And I take my Ninja diluted with a bit of water, so there's more liquid, and my Life 9, and I take that before bed. So I know that may sound counterintuitive, but I find that it doesn't keep me awake. And I find that combo of the antioxidants with Ninja and the beneficial bacteria really helps to sleep well and get better quicker.
Because I love the point that you mentioned as well about how people are so misinformed about the millions and the billions. People only speak about the millions, but we need billions. And Life9 has got all of these, like 17 billion life cultures that are found in there. And all of them, they are working to boost the gut health, which in turn is beneficial for the immune system. So I'd laid down how each of them, all 9 of them, people can always go through and just list, because there's slight differences on each of the strain. But overall, they are very good for promoting gut health and in turn helping out with the immune system, because they are very closely related.
I see in the comments chilblains, which is called wintershande or wintersoothe for Afrikaans people. I'll mention my recipe. I just shared it earlier. This is none of the oils we touched on so far. So last year I had chilblains. They were so bad I couldn't put on my shoes because my toes were really swollen and inflamed. I tried lots of oils. So the ones mentioned there: eucalyptus, lemongrass, geranium, rosemary, and somewhere in one of our community groups I read black pepper. And so that's been the one for me that really helps with the chilblain. So I wanted to just throw that in. Black pepper and marjoram has been the combo that really helped for me. This year I used the black pepper oil, just black pepper oil, and I diluted with a bit of just a foot lotion. So every night I just put my my black pepper and my foot lotion on my feet, just 1 drop per foot, so 2 drops. And this year it didn't flare up at all. So because it was so painful last week. And I find if it flares up, just remember if it's an open wound, you want to be careful that the black pepper doesn't sting it. Then just put it around the area, not in the open wound. But try that one as well. If the eucalyptus, lemongrass, and the others are not working for you, you want to improve circulation. I think ginger might be an oil that could help, but it's not one that I've tried. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for that insightful information.
Thank you.
I mean, especially with what we have going on nowadays, with cold and immunity, we need to ensure that we have a healthy gut and a very well taken care of immune system. So thank you so much, Francisca. Sunette, I understand that you put some recipes for us that you have it that you use with your day-to-day as well. So we are very pressed for time, unfortunately. So I'd like to just advise the viewers on tonight's call that you can take a screenshot if you would like for the recipes that Sunette has kindly given to us. There's a natural chest rub, there's a muscle soothing bath soak, and there's a clean skin combo. So this is what you can use for your day-to-day during wintertime. Thank you so much again for your time, Sunette, and thank you, Francisca. You ladies definitely get some really insightful information, and I'm sure our brand partners are going to take this into their day-to-day. Thank you so much again.
Sorry for going long, Gavin.
No, it's okay.
We could talk and talk all night. I think, Sunette, we need like 3 hours.
Go for it. You need to share the PV promo.
No problem. So the PV promo that we have for this month, for July, our theme is still in line with Oil Up Buttercup. So this is in line with your winter oils, ensuring that you are well taken care of. So on 100 PV on ER and 150 PV quick order, as the ladies have spoken about ginger essential oil, which is at the first tier, you're getting a Thieves hand sanitizer 29 more when you spend 120 PV on ER or quick order. And then also another oil that the ladies have spoken so nicely about, which is rosemary essential oil. This is on 150 PV on ER and 250 PV quick order. Another one that we really like is Breathe Again Roll On, and this is on 200 PV Central Reward and 350 PV quick order. Another one that we've spoken on, which is Life9, which is a really great health supplement for your day-to-day, and this is ensuring that you have a healthy gut and also ensuring that you're maintaining a healthy immune system, is the Life9 health supplement. So this is only available on Essential Rewards at 250 PV ER. And then for those odor eliminators, and just to keep your home smelling fresh and making you feel amazing as you normally would, there's Luscious Lemon 15 more at 300 PV on ER. Also, if you're spending 300 PV on more, you are getting free shipping on ER. And remember, this promotion is valid from the 1st till the 31st of July. And then On to our next slide. As you will see, our promotions that we have for the month. We have the Vitamin Citrus Trio, which consists of 3 15 ml essential oil citrus oils, which is the lime. We have a blend as well, which is citrus fresh, and we have lemon 15 ml. And then also we have the Winter Warmer Duo, which is a Thieves 15 ml as well as a Wintergreen 15 ml, and this is going at 589 Rand. This is at a 25% off discount. Okay. We've also got the Lantern Diffuser with a Lavender 5 ml and a Eucalyptus Radiator. We call this the Winter Lights Bundle. This is available for 1,250 Rand. And this is a definite must-have, just for adding that elegance in your home during winter. Also, the last bundle that we have available for the month, which is the Herbivore Trio. This is available for 975 Rand. This contains 3 essential herbaceous oils. It's basil, oregano, and thyme. Okay, so that'll be all from my side. I will be handing over to Margot. Margot, will you please take us through the incentive for the month as well as the recognition?
Hi there, Gavin. Yes, of course. I don't want to rush through this, but I'm going to be as quick as possible. So for the incentive, we all know that we have the Experience Africa Mauritius incentive. I just want to touch quickly on the update. So we had an amazing update this past week, where we had previously at 450 points, now at only 400 points, you get to go to the beautiful island of Mauritius. So from 450, we've lowered it to 400 points. And then the next one is previously at 500 points, you only need 450 points to take along a partner. So that is super, super exciting, that at tier 4. Now, onto the exciting recognition. This is tier 4, of course, and we have people who have qualified for tier 4. So we have the amazing powerhouse Desiree Lotz on tier 4. So everyone has heard about Desiree's story. She has an absolutely amazing story where all she wanted was the oils, right? And now she's actually going to Mauritius with a partner. Okay, so that is super, super exciting for her, and we're so, so proud of all her achievements. Desiree has also qualified for executive in the month of May, and she's doing absolutely amazing. So we're super excited for you. Congratulations, Desiree. Please help me congratulate them in the chat. We also have Janine Bornman, who's going